Hi, I'm Jim McInville with Gallery Furniture. Mental health has always been important to me. My mother had severe depression as I was growing up, and I watched her go in and out of Timberlawn Psychiatric Center in Dallas many times. So mental health has been a focus and a problem in my family for a couple of generations. You know, my take when I was in high school and my mother first had severe depression was get over it. And then I realized that her illness would never go away. So I knew how debilitating mental illness could be. And then when my daughter Elizabeth came down with severe obsessive compulsive disorder, I knew it was that mental illness is indeed a cruel disease. No one knows who it may strike or why. Mental illness never goes away. It lasts forever. Liz got diagnosed with severe OCD when she was about 13 years old, and it took us 2 or 3 years before we could find the right place for her to get treated, which was Miniger in Topeka, Kansas, and it was a hell on earth because when one family member has a mental illness, everybody has a mental illness. And fast forward 20 years later, Liz is doing obviously much better, but she still battles OCD every day, and now she's a professional in the field. We're very proud of her, but mental illness is something that we all need to be aware of, and treat it just like a cold, a cough, cancer, or replacing an old person's knee like my own. You know, we're people of faith, and I resolved to never give up until we found a way for her to get better, knowing that she would never be, quote, cured, but we just kept turning over rocks and stones. And one of the problems with mental illness, it takes a while to get the right diagnosis. And so one of the things she's trying to do in her life is make proper mental health care more available readily to all types of people, whether you're indigent or you live in River Oaks. We're trying to make mental illness to where everybody can get the proper treatment quickly. I think the right help and the right attitude to everybody. Again, you don't get mad at your relative if they have a heart condition. Well, how can you get mad at somebody who has a mental illness because it's just another illness? So I think all family members need to realize that when one family member has a mental illness, everybody has to rally around and help them. And so many people, I think, ostracize and want to hide the fact that their child or their loved one or their husband or wife has a mental illness. Let's not hide it. Let's embrace it and help them get better. I think it's very important. I think the public doesn't know a lot about it. I was down at MD Anderson today with a friend of mine who gave them a considerable donation, and they were talking about how much MD Anderson fights smoking. And I know that smoking is bad, but it's not top of mind awareness to me. It just struck me really hard about the evils of smoking or vaping or whatever they do now. Well, mental illness is the same way. We got to keep the awareness out there all the time because one family may go along fine for 20 years and all of a sudden that mental illness comes on like that. So we have to let people and families and communities be aware that it is a real problem. It's not going away and we need to deal with it. We work to destigmatize mental illness by putting forth people like Elizabeth. She says, my name is Elizabeth McInville and I have a mental illness. And let them know that they're everyday normal people like your husband or your wife, your brother or your sister. The person you work next to may have mental illness. So there's nothing wrong with having a mental illness, but there is a lot wrong with stigmatizing it and a lot wrong with not trying to work very hard to help people get better and in the long term find a cure. Peace of Mind Foundation is a mental health charity that Liz started, and it's a great resource for people who are looking to find the right mental health treatment. There's lots of great mental health professionals in Houston that you can access free of charge, and obviously there's some that charge, but there's lots of great places like Ben Taub where you can get great mental health treatment at a very reasonable price, if not for free. So Peace of Mind tries to get out the word to people not only in Houston and Texas but around the world of who the best professionals are in the obsessive compulsive department and help them fight and help their patients get better who have this dread disease. Well, the pioneer of OCD in Houston, as far as I'm concerned, was Howard Hughes, who was a brilliant man, but you know, from the stories of his life, you could see that he battled with mental illness and depression and obsessive compulsive disorder his whole life. So the story is, there's a story of hope. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and as Houstonians and the Texas Medical Center and Menninger Clinic and Harvard Medical School and McLean, as they band together to keep working on finding cures for mental illness. There's a big time light at the end of the tunnel. So if you or your family member have a mental illness, don't despair, get the proper help and keep working on it. It's a lifetime issue, but it's an issue that can be dealt with and lived with and help you and your family find a better life.